If you're doing one, if you're doing multiples, right? And what's going to be your break-even point, right? And then you got to think about it, right? How long are you planning to hold these things, right? Because if you have a certain amount of capital tied up in your investment portfolio or in your real estate holdings, however that looks, right? If you exit before a certain time frame, you're going to take a hit and you're going to experience losses. I tried to tell, and I did tell one of my current business partners, because we had a challenge come up where we dealt with a vacancy. Okay, one of our seller finance residents a couple years back ended up defaulting, and we got the property back. And at that point, we were exploring options. Could we refi? Could we resell? Could we just rent the property out? Okay, in our case, I'm exploring seller financing all day long because that's my jam and that's what I do. That's what I know. That's where I've seen a lot of success. And it took us a while to find residents for that home. And in between, getting the property back and finding residents, we had the game plan, and I was kind of sweating. We're steady making the mortgage payment on a vacant house, right? We got expenses, we got the utilities, there's the holding costs and so forth. You feel me? So as the clock was ticking, my business partner and I were exploring options, and he said, hey, what about us just reselling? I said, look, man, we have a substantial amount of capital tied up in this single family home investment. And I told him at that point, it was close to around $60,000. We'd only had the investment for 2 years. Okay. If we were to exit at that point, we would have received some revenue or some income, but it would not have been enough to cover how much capital we had left in that investment, right? I'm gonna leave it at that today, y'all. I don't want to get too carried away, too far into the weeds, you feel me? But this is a huge thing that investors in 2026 and beyond have to explore. We're still dealing with the effects of higher inflation. We're still dealing with interest rates that, relatively aren't really that high if you look at the grand scheme of things at a mortgage chart over the last 30, 40 plus years. But interest rates are higher than what we were used to. We got spoiled for a period of time now. And now it's kind of back to reality. And it's like, okay, investors have to come correct, and we have to be more serious, and we have to dig in a little bit deeper in order to succeed, right? So at that, I appreciate you tuning in. Reach out if you got a real estate need. If you want to learn more about seller financing or buying and holding residential real estate right here in the Kansas City market, feel free to reach out. Okay, take care. Peace.